It is time to garden. You know it is. It's already spring, even though it's not past our last average frost. It is technically spring now. So if you haven't started gardening, it's time. It's time to start thinking about what to grow, if not already starting to grow. So this is Aubrey. I'm Aubrey. This is Crybaby Sentimental Homestead. And in this video, I am going to show you as I go ahead and go over some of the items I got from the recent plant swap I participated in. I'll be potting a few little things, show you some tips on how you can get stronger tomato plants. And I'll also talk to you about how awesome garlic is and how I use it as a wonderful deterrent. And also how I make use of space in large pots. Really want to maximize the space that you have. Even if you have a large space, why not maximize that too, right? So maximize the small spaces that we have, and you're going to see some really cool stuff here. All right, so let's go ahead and get into this video. And if you see anything you really like, go ahead and pop down a comment and let me know what you're interested in hearing more about. And if you're not participating in local plant swaps, you should check them out. A lot of different social media groups have something going on. I'm sure you can find something in your area. It's very popular to do. So basically we get together, and people who are like-minded, who are like really into this, it's like a free thing to do. We meet up somewhere, and everybody usually has plants that they put out, and everyone chooses what they want. And it's like not paying for anything. There might be a few people who are like, I want to trade specific things for specific things. But most people just get the idea that you're going to walk around and take things that you want, and someone else is going to take things that they want. So the items I'm going to show you in this video are things that I chose from the other people who are sharing. I'm very happy with what I got, and I hope people are happy with what they got from me as well. So I also want to show you some of the trees I recently transplanted and how I'm going to use the space around them. That's going to be really cool. Let's go and get to work. I went to a plant swap, and this is some of the stuff I got. Got these upcycle blinds, which are going to be for plant tags. That's a great idea. So I'm going to use those. I got, not that I needed more rose campion, but looks good. I got some of these strawberries, some house plants. These I'm going to bring inside. I also got some peppers and tomatoes and basil and columbine. And what else did I get? There were some seeds as well. I'll have to dig those out. Oh, hold on. I found them. There are these straw flower mix seeds, reds and pink. So that'll be fun. I also got some black-eyed Susan vines. And I'm super excited about all this stuff. It's just fun, you know. Just fun. But I need to get, and there's also this poppy. I need to get those little strawberry plants into some soil before it's too late. Okay, so the other day, last video, I planted those elderberries, and I've got to get these strawberries. I have the variety written down, so I can come back to that later. But I don't want them to dry out and die. And then there's another plant. If you know what it is, you can put it in the comments, because I might have to go back and see if I took any pictures. I didn't have a label. Don't judge me on my shoveling. Shoveling with one hand with a flat shovel is not so easy. My favorite tools have been hidden a little bit. And this is a temporary temporary fix here because this is not where I was planning on planting them. I just need to take care of this business before it's too late. There's actually 2 plants there. Oops. Make sure all the roots are covered. That one's tiny. Temporary fix. Because I think I'm going to put these in one of those stacky things. One of the small stackies. Because these are small plants. And it'll take a while for them to outgrow those. And these were at a plant swap that I went to locally, and I gave away a bunch of seeds and garden supplies that I got from Temu, because I got a lot, and I figured, you know what, let people try them out, see if they like it. Let's see here. This is not their forever home. This is just temporary. Okay. And then the last thing I have here, I don't remember what it was, but I'm going to go ahead and plant it. And the video will serve as like a little diary. And that way I can come back and label it later. Just keeping it tucked in and safe. Okay. Here we have some garlic I got from the Asian market and forgot about it. And what I'm doing right now is I'm popping apart the cloves, and I think most of them are really good. And what I'm doing is I'm using the perimeter around this tree I planted recently. I planted, what is it? Did I bury the tag? I probably buried the tag. I planted a bunch of trees. What were they? Nannyberry trees, and what else? Oh, I cannot believe it. It looks like something's been digging my tags out. Okay, either something's digging my tags out or I'm hiding them from myself. So this right here, this one is an American persimmon. So I planted this recently. This is American persimmon. And then I have right here, I planted, this is a kind of Rose of Sharon, more American persimmon, and then I have Nannyberry, I think. So I've been doing this, and I also have some red mulberries to grow. And what I'm doing is I'm not wasting, so the roots right here, they're still baby roots, okay? They're not like all crazy filling up the whole pot. So the space around the perimeter is pretty vacant. And when you plant alliums in your garden, it's really good at deterring pests. So I like to do that around most of my garden spaces. I'll plant chives, onions, garlic, leeks, whatever, around the perimeter of my garden beds. I don't want it super close to the edge, but pretty close. And if they have green growth, that's going to be above the soil. So this has worked really well for me in the past at maximizing my space. And when I went shopping with a friend at an Asian market, I saw that these were sprouting, and I thought, you know what? I kind of missed my window for planting garlic, so this actually helps make up for the time I lost. So I'm going to pop those in. That might not make it, but you know what? Who cares? I'll plant it. I'll plant it. We'll see. Give it a chance. At the very worst, it's going to become soil. And I don't want lumps, so I'm going to break up any lumps that there are. Right? And I'm just planting it around the entire perimeter, around the entire circumference of the pot. And this is a very large pot. It's probably like 50 gallons. I lucked out because my husband had a friend, or has a friend, who owns or owned a nursery. And when they got rid of the pots after, not the nursery, landscaping business. So when they used the the pots on the properties that they work on, they have all these pots left. And I told him, whenever you have a chance. So I'm actually making like a second loop around. So I had the whole one out on the outside, and I'm doing one on the inside, because this tree was just newly planted. So it's not going to be filling up the space and needing all the nutrients that are in here for a long time. So I'm doing all the way around twice. And this is like a defense against pests. And it's going to give me a crop out of the space. So that's super nice. So now we're moving on to this Rose of Sharon. And I'm only going to do one loop around this one because it's a much smaller pot. So just, my soil is not hard. I just shoveled this like 2 days ago. So I mean, you can poke a hole, but if it's really soft like this, I can just press it in. I'm removing anything that could have mold so that they have a good start. So it's like a fortress around the plant, confusing pests, and of course, like I said before, maximizing my space. They were growing really funky because I had them in that mesh baggie for way too long. But this is what I was planning on doing the whole time with that garlic, was to plant it. I had to hide it from my husband because he loves the garlic. That's how we know he's not a vampire. It really doesn't hurt to leave the little papery husks on them or on top of the soil. It'll just break down into compost. But I'm imagining that many of you probably don't like seeing it, but whatever. I don't care. I mean, it's not that I don't care what you like or don't like. I don't really care about it. It doesn't bother me. So like I'm leaving that there. And eventually, once these grow more, I will put a little bit of mulch on top to protect the soil so it doesn't get bleached out. See, this is what happens if you leave it too long. It actually grew through the mesh. So I have to be very careful as I get that free. Look at this thing bursting with life. That's beautiful. I'm going to go ahead and peel this apart. Look at that. I just started peeling it apart. Look at all that life. That's so alive. You could chop it up and use it, but I just don't have the heart to do that. I went ahead and went around the whole Rose of Sharon, and now I'm going to go into the next pot. And I planted a circumference, a perimeter around the entire, this American persimmon tree as well. And I'm going to move on to the next one here. And now this tree, which is another nannyberry, has its defense line in place. Some of them are a little bit worse for wear, but I planted them anyway. At the very worst, it's going to feed the microbes and the worms that are in the soil. I've got one left. So I think we're going to do another one of the nannyberry trees. So this nannyberry tree, I had to plant it wonky because the roots were like all going this direction, and I really should have planted it in a 50-gallon pot. I just didn't have this nannyberry tree really wonky. You can see the stems over here. I like to put it in the center, but the roots on this one were crazy, and the only way I was going to get it to fit in this pot was if I put it all the way to the side, because the roots really flared this one direction and they had a mind of their own. So I'm going to be putting the garlic on this side, not around it, but filling on this whole space with the clove I have, the one I have left. Man, I really did push my luck with this a little bit. So not all of them are gonna work, just because I waited so long. But even if I don't get decent cloves out of these, I can get the seeds. I know that sounds crazy because people don't plant garlic from seeds. I know that. But the seeds that grow at the top of the plant are like little tiny bulbils, and they will grow. They just take a long time. They'll be like this small. But at the very worst, that's what I'll do. Or, I'll separate them and plant them, use the cloves that I get from them and plant those, and do that again until I end up getting a decent harvest. But these will do a good job of repelling pests, And I love the way garlic looks. And I don't know what variety this is, if I'll get scapes out of it or not. If it's soft neck or hard neck, not sure, because I got it from a grocery store. But I'm putting it to use. You know, think of what pesticides would cost and the horrible effect on your body. And I just used some sprouting garlic from the Asian market. Now, it doesn't have to be any certain market. It just happened to be the one I was at, and they were sprouting. So here we go. That is our perimeter line of defense against pests. I hope you enjoyed growing some sprouted garlic with me today and seeing how we can use it as a perimeter or a line of defense against pests in the garden, and maximize the space that you have in your large pots by planting garlic, onions, or other alliums in that space around your potted trees and shrubs. I got this Brandywine heirloom tomato plant from a plant swap, and it is definitely time to up-pot it. And it's way too early to plant these outside, so I have to up-pot it in increments because there's not going to be a lot of space. I'm going to see if I can plant this a little bit deeply so the stem is not so long. So what I mean by that is I will actually plant soil up the stem and it will form new roots. So I'm going to put the soil in the bottom, obviously. And then I'm going to plant it, and it's not big enough. I guess I'll plant it up the stem later. So when I up-pot it again, because I have to have a little bit of soil here and I don't have a lot of space. So I'm going to plant it here. And then the next time I up-pot it, I will plant it up the stem so that it becomes a stronger plant. So we're planting this in here. And I'm going to fill in soil all around the edges. Obviously. I do want it to be kind of centered. This plant looks really healthy, and I currently don't have any other tomatoes planted yet. I'm going to plant them, I don't know, a week, 2 weeks from now. This week I'm really focusing on peppers. Okay, so that is good. And now that plant will be happy in its new little home. Don't forget the tag, otherwise we'll be wondering what it is. But this is going to go inside under a grow light until it's safe to plant it outside. I will probably have to up-pot it at least once before that time. I also got this red cherry large tomato from the plant swap, and I'm going to up-pot this one as well. There we go. I want to make sure it still fits. Maybe a little bit less. Maybe just a little bit less. A little bit less. A little bit less, a little bit more. There we go. That'll be perfect. And I always do this to make sure I don't startle the plant. So I always use the container, I put it inside, make sure it fits. Yep. Those roots are ready to be replanted. And we'll be putting soil around it, obviously. Now, I don't care if it goes up a little bit the stem. This one seemed to go in a little bit deeper, and that's okay because tomatoes are special. Tomatoes are special. They will grow roots on their stem wherever soil touches. And I'm going to take that leaf off and plant it up higher, which is very forgiving. So if your tomatoes become too leggy, this is a good thing you can do to solve that problem, which does happen a lot. I'm not going to care that it's a little lopsided. Who cares? It's fine. The reason why I'm saying who cares, it's fine, is because I actually care. It's not fine, but I'm going to leave it. Because it will traumatize the plant too much to keep trying to situate it. So if I make a mistake, sometimes I just have to live with it if it's not centered exactly perfectly, whatever, because it bothers me, but it doesn't really bother the plant. So here we go. Peppers I got from the plant swap are still pretty small, so it's not time to up-pot those yet, but they do need to go inside. I also got some lamb. I think this is actually rose campion, and I got a few house plants from the lady. And just in the brief couple minutes that they were cold and too sunny, these house plants started wilting. But I'm sure they're going to be fine. They just don't look pretty especially if they only have one leaf right now, and that one leaf is fried looking. But I'm going to bring these inside as well. They have not been outside all night, just outside during the day today. So these are all going to go inside, and I'm going to do these another day. So I'm going to clean up the flowers, put them into some kind of hanging pot or something. I'll figure that out later. And this house plant has to come inside. This beauty came from Winco, wasn't it? Yeah, Winco. Yep. And then I also have a poppy that I got from the plant swap, and that one should be fine out here tonight. So I'm going to bring in the peppers and the tomatoes, the house plant, and then these little cuttings. But I'm going to leave, I'll bring the basil in too. But I'm going to leave out the rose campion. It's fine. Yep, gotta get resituated. I sure hope you never throw away sprouted garlic. I can't believe that I've heard a lot of people do that. They think it's gone bad. When you see it sprouting, it's actually, garlic cloves are alive, or at least they should be. So the ones you get in the grocery store should still be alive. Now, if it's like in a jar, or it's been minced, or it's been, cooked or something, it's not. But if it's just cloves of garlic, they're alive. And when they start to sprout, that's proof that they're still alive. And I've heard people actually use their sprouted garlic. I personally can't do it. When I see something coming back to life, and I see that burst of life, I feel compelled to grow it. It's just my nature. I have to grow it. Are you that way too? Do you feel like you should grow things when you see them sprouting? It's like they have a will to live. They want to grow. They want to live. They want to reproduce. I'm really excited about the garlic. Some of it I waited a little too long, but I went ahead and planted it anyway. At the worst case scenario, I'm feeding the soil. I'm feeding the microbes, as well as the earthworms and things. I'm not sure how much they love that. I've never researched that piece. Don't worry about that. But I do know that garlic and other things, other alliums like onions and leeks and chives and garlic chives and onion chives, these are all great things. I'm trying to figure out where to hold the camera. These are all great things to plant in your garden, and you don't have to monocrop. You can plant them around the perimeter or the circumference of your garden pots. And that really maximizes the space that you have, especially as those plants are first growing and that soil near the top of the planters are really free. As you start to have a plant that's older, it's less desirable. The soil gets a little bit more compact, and you have a lot already going on, and the soil's pretty depleted. So I really do this mostly when I have just put a pot together. Those are the pots I tend to use the most. But I always try to plant alliums around my plants. I feel like I've had a lot of success with avoiding huge, knock on wood, huge infestations of pests have not been a problem for me. And one of the reasons is because I believe in permaculture practices, trying to simulate and emulate nature, and how you have a lot of things. You have a tree, and you have bushes, and you have understory, and you have undergrowth, and you have ground cover. So I try to do that in my garden. It's confusing for pests. They don't quite, if they find a desirable plant, they find the one. They don't find all of them. I don't keep them all together. And I also plant things that are confusing to them, like the very strong smelling alliums, like garlic. So this is going to be really fun. I hope that when they sprout, I'll come back and I'll show you an update. As I go around during the spring and summer around the garden, I'll show you things that are going on here. On the next video, I'm going to do a Baker Creek seed unpackaging, as well as I have a small package from and my gardener as well. So I'll open 2 packages in the next video, and you'll get to see what varieties I'm excited about next. All right, everybody, I'll see you later. God bless you. Be good, be sweet, and remember, grow a garden if you want to eat. Bye-bye.